How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the More Defined podcast. I'm your host, James Chapman Jr., and today we have Isaiah Mcswain, and I'm going to let him share a little bit more about himself and what he does.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. So, hey, everybody. I am super honored to be here this evening. Um, yes, so I do a lot, but to keep it short and cool, I work in marketing and advertising. So, I've been doing that for the past 5 years. Now, I'm actually the social media coordinator for Hearst Newspapers. So, pretty big company, but what I do day to day is just strategic work. So, I build strategies for clients, teach sales reps, and then I manage our editorial sponsored post product. So it's like an ad product. But yeah, it's my day to day.
All right, that's cool. Starting off, basically, want to make this as much of a conversation as possible, even though I am
Yeah.
kind of interviewing you. But you can definitely ask me questions, or I can answer, give my own kind of insight on my perspective of those questions or whatnot. But starting off, just to get a real easy feel, tell me about how everything is going in life right now, kind of like a 1 to 10 scale, and I can answer that myself too, if you would like.
Yeah, cool, cool, cool. Great question. First, starting off, I think, really getting engaged on a person's day or day to day is important. And I'll be honest with the audience. My life is pretty good right now. Um, I would say all nuances included, lessons that come on the daily included. I would give it about an 8.5. There, of course, are things that I wish to have and wish to be able to do or not do. But I think my life is at an 8.5 right now. I really enjoy my day to day. I wish some people were not in my life, but I've learned, even with having people who aren't so welcome in my life is still pretty great because I learn new lessons from them. But I enjoy life. What about yourself?
I would say everything is at an 8 right now. Um, Honestly, I don't like to go too high because I want to say everything's at a 10. Then I feel like one moment everything could drop to like a 2. But
Sure.
I feel like everything's at an 8. Work is going fine. Getting back into this podcast, it's really exciting for me. Um, Everything else with personal life, it's going well. Being able to go to the gym and everything like that, do whatever else I want to do. It's moving along pretty smoothly. So I would say an 8.
Good deal. Same here. I actually just got a new gym membership. So, tangent moment, people. I live in Houston, Texas, and I live in downtown Texas. I mean, not downtown Texas. We have a lot of those, but I live in downtown Houston, and so I just joined the Y. Don't come see me while I'm working out, but it is a huge gym, and I would say that probably took my life scale from like an 8.4 to that 8.5
Mm,
because like I can go to workout classes now. I have like people that like have basically the same schedule as myself, so
mm.
we're like in the gym at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I built relationships with some of these people, got wine with some of them, so I'm adulting. It's nice.
Oh man, yeah. Adulting is interesting for most folks. So,
It is. It is. It can be. It can be.
so this is something I start off basically with all my guests. At what moment did you know, or did someone tell you basically that you had the eye for marketing?
Hmm. Good question. Uh, Nobody ever told me, and I don't think I've noticed just yet. I still be trying to convince myself some days. But I will say I took more ownership of the passion like late 2020. And it was more so just due to the fact that like I'd done things in marketing and advertising that I wasn't truly familiar that it was in this industry.
Mm,
So after some more studying, like late 2020, I was like, I got it. So I started my business. And I think throughout the matriculation of Run Exam Designs, I kind of convinced myself internally or subconsciously that I could do marketing and advertising.
okay, okay. What is it about marketing that makes you wake up every day and want to continue to pursue it?
Ooh, really good question. Um, oh, my voice cracked a little bit. Oh my God, did I get nervous? But I think I wake up every single day to do marketing and advertising, I want to say specifically to bring people's dream alive.
Mm.
Um, we are the thought provokers of products. Now, we may not be the solution providers, right? We're not the engineers, we're not the database scientists, and etc. But we are those who can visualize what can captivate the user and truly give them a solution to their problem. So, waking up every day, being able to meet with small business owners, Fortune 500 marketers, and etc., and just truly like visualize solutions to problems kind of gets me going.
Do you feel like helping those people's or companies' dreams come to fruition is something that you kind of hold a little dear to yourself?
I would say yes. And side note, that's actually probably why I'm not as far in marketing as I should be. But I do take a bigger emotional value in the work that I
Mm.
do, yes. So I do care more about the client. I do care more about the campaign and the messaging. So yeah.
Okay. Uh, do you have anyone or a company that influences your creative style?
Hmm, that's a good question. Honestly, can I be honest with the audience? Y'all, like, I was just trying to hire a stylist like 3 months ago. I don't have I don't have creative style. I'm just good at what I do. No, no, no. All jokes aside, I do not think that there's a company that I draw inspiration
Mm.
from. I will say I look at the Martin Agency and I aspire to be their great in terms of just the processes, the clients, and the work that they produce. But nah, I be looking in the mirror, getting a little inspired every morning. You know, vibes.
Do you feel like having some of those elements, like having a stylist, kind of helps with your thought process when you're working on some of those advertising campaigns or some of those marketing strategies for your different clients?
Um, do you mean like the style, like just drawing inspiration from the Martin Agency and etc.?
Well, like kind of like personally. So, like how you're saying you thought about hiring stylists. And so I know kind of for me a little bit to where I think about certain things, my like clothing style or like how I like to style, like maybe my house or a room kind of helps me pinpoint what I like to do when in terms of like doing photography or like when it comes to looking for certain conversations to have or different stories to type of tell. Because I like things complex and simple, but if I can splash a little bit of flavor, splash a little bit of color or spice, then I'm gonna look for that too. And so I feel
Mm.
like if you're connected in the way you dress and express yourself, maybe that helps a little bit with what you do day to day and whatever profession that is.
That's a good question. So I would say it does not. And why do I say that? So marketing and advertising are subjective,
Mm.
and they are perception based. While we do have, of course, legalities and different processes in place that we have to follow from a like federal level to like just working with the client, um, I will say I just approach each client differently and unique. Now I have my process that I flow through, but I approach them and try to find creativity in the work that they have or would like to have. My personal style, I will say that bleeds into my professionalism because this is me. This is me all day. I don't cookie cut. I don't
Yeah.
wash over my words. I'm just myself. Even when speaking to clients or C-suite executives, this is me. So I would say like my style, it bleeds into my profession, but not my client work. I try to find my creativity within the client
Mm.
themselves.
That's probably why I'm not alone in that route and on the engineering brain. But
Look, and we need engineers.
yeah.
So continue to do your work. We need you. We need you. We need you.
Okay. You were born in Mississippi, right?
No, no,
Okay,
no, no.
okay.
So I was actually born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Mm.
but we moved God knows how many places from then to high school to college. But yeah.
Do you feel like I want to word it.
Say
Maybe
it from.
not growing up for a lengthy period of time in one place kind of influence some of your thought process now as an adult.
I would say, yeah. Um, Being able to grow up in multiple environments has allowed me to be adaptable.
Mm,
So I show up as myself, like I was just saying a few moments ago. Like my style bleeds into my professionalism because I'm just me. So since I have seen many individuals from many cultures and just how they interact with each other on a singular level and on a communal level, I can adapt. Now, I can adapt to the point to where I don't have to change aspects about myself to fit in. I find like, well, I guess I find like areas of opportunity for me to fit in.
mm.
So I can understand people or understand their perception based off of my perception. So I think that's how it helped me.
Okay. So, where did you like your teenage years? I guess. Where were you then?
Ooh. So I spent high school in Mississippi. I was in
Hmm.
Mississippi during that time.
You think? Well, so you're born in Alabama, Mississippi. Did you travel? Well, did you live anywhere other than the South?
Yeah. So my mom's from LA. We stayed there for a few years. We lived in Atlanta,
Mm.
Decatur, Brooklyn. Then we moved to Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Jackson, Wiggins, um, and Starkville, of course. But yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yep. I asked, but I knew about the teenage years a little bit since we went to
we
school, high school together.
went to high school together, right? Yeah.
uh, but now you live in Texas, Houston specifically. Uh, do you think that moving away from Mississippi, number one, but moving to Texas and Houston specifically was what you needed most in your career or most in your life at this point so far?
Good question. I'm gonna take a tangent and then I'm gonna answer directly.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say like just being 24. Like I just turned 24 in January, right? I'm young. We're young,
Yep.
and I know for me specifically, if I can speak for myself, I don't have my life figured out. So in 2022, that July, when I was thinking about moving to Texas, I didn't know that like Texas was a good move for me. All I knew is I had signed a lease in Starkville. I no longer wanted to be in Starkville. I had no clients in Starkville. And I had a really good friend out here in Houston. And it was like, sink, swim. And that's been most of my life, right? So a lot of my life has just been a catalyst of decision making. Like I
Mm.
just have to decide to the next move, decide. So when I began to truly develop the thought of moving to Houston, the few things that I was looking out for, or at least that I wanted to get from this experience, was an extended career lifetime. So I wanted to extend the contracts that I had. I wanted to gain new connections, and I just really wanted to become bigger in advertising and marketing. Honestly, I knew the cost of living was higher here compared to Starkville, Mississippi. I was scared. I also, again, of course, only had my business, so I was like, I really got to make it. So I was scared, I was nervous. And to answer the question directly, um, I wanted to receive those things. So I just wanted to receive more development in my career, more
Mm.
extensions in the contracts I had, and just more notoriety in the space. But yeah, I had no intentions to come to Texas at all, not even the first.
What were some of those places that you thought about moving? Um,
Back in my mom's womb was one of them. Like start this all over again. But no, I think a few places that I've thought to move before Houston. I had my heart on LA, right? Just being, I lived out there when I was younger, and of course I have family out there, but it's high. Okay, the girlies are not living in the mansions in Beverly. No, they're like in apartments.
yeah. Really?
It's a little scary. Yeah. So LA was off the list. Until I get them checks up, I'll be there soon. But for right now, it wasn't gonna happen. So I thought about LA. I also thought about what was it? So I thought about LA. I thought about Fort Lauderdale. No, not Fort Lauderdale. Tallahassee, Florida.
Mm.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. I know. So random. But I was really in tune with FAMU at that
Oh,
time.
okay, okay.
Again, in 2022, I was like, well, I didn't say this, but I was thinking about my masters and
Yeah.
things, and so FAMU kind of had my heart. I thought about there, and then lastly, I thought about Atlanta again because I used to model, as you know, in 2021.
Hmm.
That was a lot of fun, and so I knew that I had connections in Atlanta, and I could probably make something in a month or two. But those were probably the three places.
Honestly, that you brought up the modeling thing because I've been wondering a little personally. Um, was that just something that was like a moment in time, or is that something that you like see yourself kind of like popping in and out of periodically whenever opportunity arises?
Yes, I'll actually tell this to the public and the audience. I've actually started back working on my
Hmm.
modeling career. So hence me in the gym all the time. Now,
Yeah.
acting up. But no, that's one of the reasons why. It's just to make sure I'm within my great, or I have a clear BMI. So when I do my casting calls and etc., like I can hit the look. But it was a moment in time, and God is an amazing, fruitful God. Like I hopped on Clubhouse. I think it was like November 2021. Got on Clubhouse, and I don't know if you know about Clubhouse or not. Do you know
I know
about
a little
Clubhouse?
bit.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was on Clubhouse when it was just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody changing their life, and I changed mine with Clubhouse. So got on Clubhouse in November, and I literally began to meet like
Mm.
photographers, scouting agents, designers, fellow models, and etc. And they're like, "Where are you located? Why are you not modeling? You have this look, you have this, you have that." And mind you, I want the audience to know, please believe in yourself before somebody tells you to believe in yourself.
Mm.
I didn't see myself like that. I didn't see, I'm be honest, I didn't see my own beauty. I didn't see my own worth or anything like that. I just thought I was a regular person. Like I'm just, from the trenches. I'm trying to get out of there, type vibe. So I never really looked at beauty. I never really seen value in that. Like it wasn't anything tangible, right? So when I met these individuals, they just like, hold on, wait. You need to be in New York. You need to be in LA. You need to be out here with us modeling. We can get you to Atlanta faster. So hence, I started to model for the Atlanta School of Photography.
Mm.
Designers that were in Atlanta, stylists specifically, I would help them on sets, like model the clothing for them to like send out and etc. And then from there, just I got depressed and I stopped. But yeah, it's something that I will be starting back. I've begun to reach out to old connections. Again, I'm in a gym going crazy. But yeah, it was a moment in time, but it is definitely something that I'll be getting back into here soon.
No, that was the tidbit where you talked about believing in yourself before anybody else does you. That's a big thing because something that I've always aspired to do because I've had a billion ideas over my life so far. I've always wanted to model something somewhere. I don't know how it's gonna happen or when it's gonna happen, but that's always been one of my like life goals basically. And so that part of like believing that I could actually do it has kind of been the struggle a little bit.
Mm. I'll hit that on the nail, and then I'll tell you how you should get into it as well. So I just come from a really strenuous environment. My mother definitely tried her best. My father tried his best before his passing, but I had to figure a lot of things out, and so I had to begin to believe in my own ability to achieve
Mm.
just due to necessity, right? Without the ability to tell myself, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have dinner tonight," and it's rough. The audience, you may all not know this, but yeah, I definitely lived a very rough few years. But I had to tell myself like, "Oh, you want to eat tonight? You can do it. Go get some money. Go figure it out. Go do something, right?" And so I truly had to begin to position myself internally to say like, "Oh, I can do that." I don't have to have, mom, dad, auntie, grandma, like, "Oh, I told you you have this, you had it, you had it." I believe I can have it. So I'm going to go do it. Whatever it takes in me to whoever I need to become to have that thing, again, back to my adaptability.
Mm,
Oh, I can do
yeah.
that. I can do that easily, effortlessly, actually. But it took a lot. It took a lot to get to that place, to get to that space. It took a lot of crying, a lot of disbelief. Again, like I couldn't even see my own beauty. Now I'm not big headed, whatever. But I'll be looking at me like, who is that? I see you. Come here. So it took a lot of moments and a lot of trying times, but you too can believe in yourself if you just begin to start telling yourself. It truly starts with first having that open conversation with yourself. What can I really do? Where is my worth really at? And once you start to realize that it's a lot of internal value there and you stop reaching for the external, you'll see that you are always valuable. But enough of that. How can you get into modeling? So, for one, the money comes in commercial modeling.
Mm,
That's one thing that I now know. I will tell everybody this that's watching and will watch. Get on Backstage. It's another one, James. I'm gonna send that to you directly because that's where the real hot girls be at. And so I'm not trying to. I'm a gatekeep. Don't get
okay.
me, y'all. Don't get me.
You gotta
I'm
do it
gonna
a
have to
little
gate.
bit. You gotta do a little
I'm
bit.
just gonna have to gatekeep a little bit. You'll find out if you're really serious. But definitely get on Backstage. You can start to do parts modeling, so like hand modeling, this is weird, foot modeling,
Mm,
leg modeling, like everything. You can do parts modeling. You can start to do some background work that can lead you into more modeling gigs. Like any designer that needs like a real model to try on the fitting, like I was telling you in Atlanta, I used to do fittings and fitting calls and things like that. You can do those. So you definitely can start. You don't have to be handsome Squidward or the likes.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
truly anybody can model. Like, and the industry has changed too. I know in 2021, like when I was meeting with these designers, I'm getting invited to New York Fashion Week. I'm like, me, girl, I weigh 150 pounds. And that's not a lot, but the men up there like
Yeah.
121
But yeah,
pounds, like
yeah,
y'all gonna fly away with the wind.
yeah.
So I had to learn a lot. So you too can model. There is not one look. I will say this though: high fashion and editorial are the hardest to get into, just due to the brand's namesake, Prada, Balenciaga, all the little names and all this stuff. So look out for those things. But you can part model for sure.
Okay, okay. Um, that actually gives me a lot more to think about, honestly.
Hmm.
But no, the point about the industry changing too, I've noticed it. Even though I don't pay as much attention to different things like that, I've noticed based on just even simple commercials like Old Navy or something like that. Like the industry as a whole has changed and it's shifted, and they've tried to be a lot more inclusive, not just with black and brown people, but with different body types and different hair textures and everything. So I've noticed it periodically.
Yeah, it's shifting. Partially because like purchase power, like
Mm,
who can actually afford the French fry people. I used to be a French fry, but now I'm poking at things. But for the extra thin people, everybody ain't got no money.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
afford a $12,000 shirt, but Gertrude down the road with a little extra pound, she can. So it was more so just trying to find value in the market, and it's with everybody, not just with one
mm,
specific demographic. But
yeah.
that's how it is.
Okay. Personally, not professionally, because
Okay.
professionally you might have a little different opinion. Uh,
Okay.
do you think that having a college degree helps you in your career?
In marketing and advertising,
Hmm.
um, I'll say this because it's not a yes or a no. It depends on what area of marketing you want to work, or what area of marketing and advertising you would like to work in, right? If it's a more analytical role where you're working with more data, database tools, data analytics and things like that, you definitely need a degree. You need to understand, what these evaluations are, what the growth rate is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you're on the creative side of marketing and advertising, like more so in the graphic design, in the creative direction, photography, videography, I will say that you need training.
Mm,
You may not need a college degree specifically, like a 4-year degree, but you definitely need training on tools, training on your tools, training on like different techniques with your utensils and etc. Like if how to find the rules of thirds, all those things. So I'll say you need training, but no, it just depends on what area you would like to work in.
I got you. I got you. What would you say are the pros and cons of working in a corporate setting?
Gosh. So, for the audience members, you all probably don't know this, but I ran my own business for 3 years. And so, for the past year, I've been in corporate. And not like little corporate, like we are the largest media company in the world. On network all the way down to Disney. Like, we are those people. I would say pros and cons with corporate, specifically our corporate, because once y'all look me up, you'll know the company. Our pros and cons, we have a very beautiful compensation package. Like we get free mental health, we get like discounts on rentals,
Mm,
discounts on flights, discounts. I think there's like some food discounts. There was one today that I was working around with or playing with. There we get like financial planners and things like that. So there's a lot of benefits in our compensation package. I ain't gonna let it go right now. Man, I like that about us. Um, Other pros, I'm working with the industry thought leaders, some of the industry thought leaders in advertising and marketing. So that's a really good experience. Being able to meet with the editorial, with the editor of Cosmopolitan or something like
mm.
that. Like we just did that last week, right? So like things like that, I now get to do because of the company that I work in. Other pros, I will say that we offer a lot of development to employees. Now, it will not directly be offered, but it is available, right? So, if you would like to position yourself for leadership or just continue to grow within the organization, they do have training available. And our training comes through Harvard. So, like any
Oh wow.
business training,
Okay.
any leadership training is
Yeah.
through Harvard for Hearst. So, it's standard, it's industry standard training that I get at no cost. I will say cons. Ugh, how many you want to hear?
Man, you throw a
I'll give you three or
quick
four.
3 or 5.
Okay, I'll give you a quick three or four. Um, I will say cons. The not so one of the pros is the people, and then one of the cons is also the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You definitely get some personalities that do not know how to interact outside of a corporate setting,
Mm.
if I'm saying that correctly. So they're very cookie cutter. They're very politically correct and a bit passive aggressive. I don't really enjoy that. Other cons, it depends on the person, but once you get to work at the level of media that I'm in, it's a higher volume. So, like, a lot of your work is scrutinized. You
Yeah.
really have to be careful with the things that you say, what you do, what you claim, what you offer. And I won't say that's like a direct con, like, oh my gosh, I have so many rules and I have to, make sure I'm doing things right. That's not the case, but I will say again, like, there's high scrutiny in the work that you do. So that can be a bit disheartening to some. That will probably be it. I don't know. I can't think of anymore. I don't want anybody to watch this and then I'll be in HR. Maybe about my cons.
uh, Now the cons part for me, corporate settings, depending on the place you're at, the company you're at, or whatnot.
Sure.
To me, it's about just the energy that's in the building or the office, really. Because I know some places, or even like if the company has like multiple locations where they house whoever, different locations have different vibes to them. And so,
Yeah.
depending on the leadership of those locations, you might have a more upbeat and positive going type of vibe in the office. On another location, the leadership might be a little bit more stringent and strict and like um they like to be kind of like you say like cookie cutter, like things have to be XYZ or
Mm.
whatnot. And so that's kind of the thing that I don't like, but it's a little general in a sense. Because my specific setting, the upper leadership, I don't directly have tasks with them, but like my engineering leadership is actually really nice. We're really cool, and then we're closer in age too, and so it helps. Um,
That is
but
crazy that you say that.
yeah.
So I don't want to be too specific because they do be watching me. And like as soon as I say this on LinkedIn, they're going to be watching you. Um, but I will say recently I've worked with leadership that's closer to my age. And of the few leaders that are closer to my age, some of them have been very like they're millennial managers, basically millennial directors and managers.
Mm,
Um, they have been enjoyable,
mm,
but there have been quite a few that since you are a year or two, 3 to 4 to 5 years younger than them, they automatically want to belittle you. I won't say belittle you. They would like to. They tend to not receive value from your sentiments versus um, providing you scrutiny
mm,
or constructive criticism, right? So they like to find areas where you didn't do the thing correctly versus seeing it at a holistic approach and being done correctly. So I would say I'm not enjoying that with them. They try to find little, argumentative points. Again, back to the passive aggressiveness. It's like, oh my God, do you not have friends? Do you not have shows you like to watch? Why are you scrutinizing me? And then like once you get through it, it's like we didn't change anything. Like we changed the word, maybe we changed the picture. It's a lot of perception. So I don't really enjoy that. I actually like leadership that's more seasoned,
mm.
that is open to innovation. Specifically seasoned but open to
Yeah,
innovation,
yeah.
right? Because I've worked, just being on boards, and well, y'all don't know this, the audience doesn't know this, but I've also served on the board for American Marketing Association, the Houston chapter, for a year, and then now I serve on the corporate African American Marketing Association board, and I've been doing that for a year. So I've worked with leadership that is older, right? Like C-suite executives and et cetera. And a few of them are open to innovation. Love the conversations we have. Love it. For one, they offer you expertise and knowledge that you've not known or had. Again, they've seen a lot of industry shifts and changes, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are providing them innovation, and they're open to innovation. So it's a really robust conversation you can have, and it's a lot of development that can happen on both ends. Whereas I've not truly enjoyed millennial managers that don't see value in the work that you do, and then C-suite older executives that don't see value in the work that you do. So I'm kind of here with it. Depends on the person. Truly
Yeah,
depends on the person.
yeah. It's the dynamic too is interesting because especially in my company when engineering is somewhat separate from the operations side of it. Like we're connected, but I literally answer to like my engineering manager and then like my engineering director for like the region. So I don't have to really work with those people, but depending on who that person is, like things can be really easy and they can be really hard, basically.
Yep. 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 And it's all about the person. It's about them.
I know you mentioned it a few times earlier. What would you say are the pros and cons of working as an entrepreneur?
Ooh. Oh goodness. It's a heavy one. Pros and cons to entrepreneurship. Mm. I would say a few of the pros are, for one, the essence of time freedom. You have the essence of time freedom, right? Now, you may not have the time to be free because
Mm,
every problem is your problem, but you do have the essence of time freedom. So I used to find myself, if I see a 30-minute window for a nap, who I'm finna ask? Nobody. That bonnet is going on and I'm hitting the closest pillow. So I would say that's one of the biggest pros. Another pro, um, the value in the relationships that you can build from being an entrepreneur to an employee. And what I mean by that is that you have access to different efforts and incentives with being the entrepreneur or the founder or someone that's in leadership versus being like a practitioner of the work and
mm,
employee, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you can approach different conversations. So I will say that's one you can have. You can truly have a different control on the outlook or the goal, and so you can enter conversations that can shift or aid to that. whatever you see fit are best for the business. Other pros, you're living your dream. You're truly taking a risk on you. That is something that nobody can take from you unless you don't pay your taxes or something crazy. There, it's ours. Thank you, but nonetheless, you're living your dream hopefully, and you're able to do things that you see fit. So you can run a business that you have passion for, and at least do work that you have passion for. Cons, taxes. Oh my god, like a lot of taxes. But like you have a lot of taxes. I will say other cons, and it's not a con, it's more so like it can become a problem if you don't work on it in the beginning. Really creating roles of operation. So
Mm,
like if ABC does EDF, like what does that look like? How does that truly move the whole needle for the business? So really creating roles of operation. Like I need you to play this role. That's
yeah.
what that looks like. Then creating processes and systems for them. So that can be a con for you because none of this comes ready, set to go. Right? You don't just have a business idea and then like, oh, that person's supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and that's going to aid X, Y. No, no. You need to think about your interdepartmental connectivity. So worry about your departments and how they connect. Make sure nobody's siloed. I'm consulting, my bad. I would say that's one of the cons. That was one of the cons for me. Like I had to really think about like their role in the
Hmm.
organization, the role of operation. Like how can they really help us operate? So that was one of the cons for myself. But it's really what you make it though. It's what you make it.
I got you. How has the advent of AI impacted you?
Ooh. Um, Crazy enough. So work wise, we actually just rolled out a proprietary tool.
Mm,
So I have training on that now. So literally, I'll be able to use it in my day to day for like copy. Sales reps are supposed to be able to use it for like creating proposals and etc. Like it'll have our like some of our pricing thoughts in there, whatever the case. Corporate working on it, but it hasn't really changed my day to day.
mm.
I would say it's amplified my day to day. So I've been able to kind of get my thought starters started faster with tools like Llama 3, ChatGPT 4. I've been able just to kind of hop on there, ask it a few little questions, and it'll spit me something back out that I can play around with in my mind and then flesh out and develop. So that's been one of the biggest things. It's kind of amplified my work.
Were you one of those people in the beginning that was kind of against it, or were you a little bit more open-minded to it? And now that you've gotten to the point where you've used it personally, you've got training and everything, like you're okay with it.
Yeah, so no. I definitely am open to AI. Audience moment. I actually started my career in tech. So I started my career working on like help desk 1 and 2 tickets. And then from there, of course, like leading into advertising and marketing. Along the line, somewhere I learned how to code. So I know like
Mm,
HTML, Java, CSS, Python, etc. Right? So I wasn't against it. I was already privy to large language models and just computer learning in itself. And I've also wanted to start a marketing SaaS tool that, used AI as one of our core functions. So I'm open to it. I love it.
that's good. Honestly, for me, AI wasn't something that I was thinking about in a macro perspective, really. Um,
Mm,
I was really thinking about it in a micro sense and how it could potentially impact me. But being an engineer by trade, as I kind of expand out with multiple other things that I'm doing, I didn't really think it was something that's going to impact me negatively. But seeing the massive conversation from people older than me, older than us, um, seeing the negative side of it was quite interesting, honestly, because you would think after some time people would learn to take things kind of day by day, one by one, but not be so quick to judge everything as like a bad write off or it's like we're gonna lose jobs and everything because technology and just the world in general has evolved so many different times, especially in the last 2 decades. Like
yeah. And
AI for the most part, if we use it the right way it's gonna help our lives. It's gonna improve different processes, and it's gonna probably make some people better position themselves in the industries that they're in as well, being like the experts on it or whatnot, since they were the first ones to be open to it. So AI to me
Yeah.
isn't, it was never a bad thing, but it's always interesting to depend on the person that you talk to, seeing what their original thoughts were and what their thoughts are now.
Yeah, and I just to kind of dive into a conversation, just open a bit. It's a bit much for like blue collar workers.
Oh
Where
yeah,
does
yeah,
AI fit into their workload, right? Are those who lack education?
yeah. Mm,
Where does even the understanding of AI come into their day to day life? What resources can they pull from? So when I first started to hear about AI coming out and like, well, it was AI has already been out. Let's say
mm-hmm.
that AI has
Yeah.
already been out, but now it is. We have tools that are readily available to the masses, and people can use them. And now these tools have been augmented for day to day functionality, right? So like I can use it to do this one thing and do it
Mm-hmm.
well. Um, so when it started to roll out on a mass scale and individuals began to pick it up more, um, one of my biggest fears and concerns was just the adaptation to the tool, right? Like, who's creating the resource? First of all, just reading the articles that we've read over the past few months, year or so, we know that the practitioners and the individuals building the tools are not willing to make these tools user friendly for
Yeah.
those that they do not like,
Yeah.
right? Face recognition tools not picking up on darker pigmented skin, AI that lacks language or AI that has language barriers and etc. Right? So like there's a lot that we have to do still in the current moment to make these tools available to the masses, or at least functional for the day-to-day human experience, right? Because that changes per person. I may be partially blind,
Mm-hmm.
but if you make AI, hell, who knows, right? It needs to be able,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
needs to be able to work with my eyesight or lack thereof, and so I truly did not. I didn't find myself judging those who were unable to understand AI at first, but I do find myself current day wanting to create resources for
Mm-hmm.
them and find areas of opportunity to teach them and train them. Especially in marketing and advertising specifically, we have tools are now like on our ads managers, right? Like you can log on your general, it really don't even matter the tool you use. You can go on LinkedIn ads and they have like an automatic feature to where they use
Yeah.
AI to build
Yeah.
your ad placement. And for a lot of people who aren't educated in the space, they'll begin to lose like morale and trust in marketing and advertising if they do it themselves and use these AI tools that have not truly been worked out or fleshed out to work well with marketing and advertising on an objective scale. But yeah,
Moving along.
yeah, let's keep rolling.
I mean, that's a it's a deep conversation.
It can
But
be.
how difficult has it been to maintain a healthy work-life balance?
Ooh, back to entrepreneurship. So you have the essence of time. Like you have the essence of time with entrepreneurship. So that's when I really found myself with the worst work-life balance. Like I didn't really see the balance in it
Mm,
all. It kind of was just a thing. Um, I was white labeling for Glitter Sparkle specifically. I'm gonna say this. Ashley Bundes, if you watch this, I believe in you, girl. Um, but literally, when I was white labeling for her agency, I would find myself like, Lord have mercy. This was when I first moved to Houston too. Like this was my money in Houston. That first 6 months in Houston, I would find myself at like 7, 8 o'clock at night, just finishing the day, laying down on the floor, waking up at like 6 a.m., hopping in the shower real quick, brushing my teeth, just to hop back on the client meetings. I didn't say I ate dinner.
no,
I didn't say I ate breakfast.
no.
I didn't work out. I didn't go nowhere. Working, 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 working. So now, current day, work life balance is extremely important to me.
Mm.
Even though I have a more taxing schedule, I have boundaries. I have boundaries. I ask for things that I know I need. Like even with us, like I was like, you added me an agenda. Like these
Yeah,
are
yeah.
things that I do in my day to day just to keep my balance up, right? So like in my free time, I don't have to run over here and understand that, or I don't have to, over execute over here because I've set that boundary. We know the hours of operation for this. I have a timeline for you to submit things to me. It just helps me out now. I have more boundaries now, so it's definitely a thing I can do now.
Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. That's like shout out one thing to people our age, especially people graduating colleges or not going into the workforce or being entrepreneurs. Like set those boundaries that you know
Right
you
now.
have to be able to live with each and every day. That's
Yeah.
major. That's definitely major.
And it's a way to do it without being rude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I did it, and it's just as learning. Please learn from my failures, people. Um, but I remember this was one that same white labeling contract I just mentioned to you all. Again, Ashley, I believe in you, girl. But like, I literally had to set boundaries with the team because we were all in different time zones, right?
Mm,
So a time that was convenient for you, maybe
mm-hmm.
2 hours extended for myself,
Yeah.
right? It's 4 o'clock in LA, but it's 6 o'clock in Houston, right? And so just things like that. And I remember when I found myself setting boundaries with them that first go round, I sent a long, and James, I kid you not, I'm not gonna forget it because I learned from this. I sent them about a little message, probably not that long on your screen. It was probably that long on their screen. And it was on Slack. I sent it on Slack, sent it in the team chat, and it had the times that you could contact me, the email to contact me at, the number to call me at. I had set up a little second phone number for them. It was so I had gave
Yeah.
them so much. And what I received back was, that's so rude. How
Mm,
do you just come in here and tell it? Yes. And so moral of the story is you have to give people that adaptation time to adhere to your
yeah,
boundaries.
yeah.
And if they do not, now if you work with them, I ain't going, I can't pay your bills, friend. So, you might want to figure that one out or take some time and, work around the things. But yes, like some people are not going to like the fact that you have boundaries because it does not correspond with what they would like to do with you or for you, or et cetera, et cetera. But you have to be open to that. You have to be open to people not being able to, really get into the boundary that you've set in place, to operate with.
Mm. Speaking of word right there.
Am I? I'm just talking.
So at this point, been in your career for a good bit. Um, like you just mentioned, work-life balance and everything, setting the boundaries, whatnot. And you've had different transitions a little bit in life at this point, even though we're still
Hmm.
both very young. What would you say is in store for your future? If you're not quite sure, distant future, you can maybe mention near future.
Um, Good question. I think near future. Again, right now I'm working on getting back in commercial modeling. So just getting through those meetings, finding those castings that I fit into. That's currently happening. I'm now back accepting agency clients, so that's really exciting. So starting back my agency, I've been working on that for the past month or so. So much with that. Oh gosh. But yeah, I think those are my two things right now for the near future, like working on commercial modeling and getting my agency clients back.
Mm, okay, okay. So at
Yeah.
this point, we're at the home stretch, and these are the fun, quick, thought-provoking questions a little bit. So you can answer them quickly or kind of take a minute to answer them. But starting off with the first one, if you could travel back in time to a certain decade or year, what would it be and why?
Mm, a A certain decade and year. Mm, I don't think I have one. I don't think I have one. Like in my own life?
Yeah, just like anything, like for me personally, it's the '90s, based off of like just how everything was rolling in the '90s, like just culture wise. But I don't know if I'd have a specific year, because I mean, a lot of stuff, good and bad, happens in one year. But
I don't know. I don't think I want to go back in the past because I'm a gay black man, and so our health was out the window back then. We had no health rights. We had no normal people rights. Lord have
yeah,
mercy.
yeah,
I wouldn't go back. But I will say I am looking forward to the era of my life in which I have financial abundance.
mm,
I'm able to start the nonprofits that I truly dream of, and I just have more leisure in life. I think I'm looking forward to that.
amen to that. If you could give yourself some younger advice, what would it be?
Giving my younger self some advice. Hmm. I definitely would tell myself you're doing more than a typical teenager.
Mm,
So value that. Give grace to yourself and just continue to fight. Um, yeah, there were a lot of times in my youth when I was kind of fighting comparison, like, oh my gosh, like other teenagers are doing this or they're doing that, and I'm not able to show up like that. And I had to realize, at least in my younger adult life so far, the past few years, my teenage life was hard. I did a lot of work that some adults wouldn't even be able to have gotten through. So I would tell my younger self, just value where you are in life. You're doing a lot.
if you owned a library, what kind of library would it be? A music library, a regular book library, or a movie slash TV show library?
Ooh. Well, I was about to ask you, are there multiple libraries? I didn't know that. So I just learned something new. Um, I actually would probably have an ad library
Hmm,
that corresponds with the TV and entertainment library because I love media. I love media.
okay, okay. Changing the question a little bit. Okay.
Um,
What is one gift that you have that a lot of people don't know about?
I don't want to lie. um, one gift that people don't know about. I don't know. It's a lot people don't know about me. I would say I can sing a little bit,
Hmm,
and I used to freestyle
okay,
in my
okay.
spare time.
This is the last one.
What about you? Hold on, wait. Before we move on, what's one thing about you that the people don't know? Tell
Oh,
the audience.
it's a lot for that one. Trying to think of one that's not easy. 'Cause I mean, it's not that a lot of people don't know. It's just probably I don't broadcast as much. Um, uh, I guess I go with an easy one. But
Mm,
since only I guess certain people know, I music is everything to me. Like music is my passion. I can sing and I know how to play one instrument for real. I know how to do a little bit on other instruments or whatnot, but
okay.
music has always been a thing for me since I was been a kid. And so being able to sing and have that ability, musical ability, and being able to play an instrument and knowing that can translate to other instruments, like that's something big that some people do know, but not the whole world in a sense knows, especially since I'm not really quick to just display my voice to
That's
anybody.
true.
But
That's true. I remember your choir days. I remember. So tell me this. Do you play like in your free time? Do you go to any jazz clubs,
man,
karaoke?
when I was graduating high school, I had this idea that I was gonna go through college and I was still gonna play my trombone periodically. I was gonna learn to play the piano, since I'm still gonna do that. It just hasn't happened yet. Um, and that by the time I graduate college, get myself together, move away from Mississippi, I'm gonna have like different festivals or junctions that I can play at, like go to jazz clubs and stuff. And I got to college, and my trombone stayed in its case at my mom's house or my dad's house, depending on where it was at. And I haven't opened it but once in the last. It's been a year since I've been out of school now. Um, last 5 to 6 years or whatever. Um,
So can you make a promise to me? I just have one ask. So after this live,
mhm.
I want you to pick. Do you have it with you? Like, is it near you?
Yeah,
Okay, go play it for 30 minutes
LOL.
after this live. Just 30 minutes. You don't gotta record it. It don't even gotta sound good.
Well, not gonna
But
sound
just
good. But no, that muscle memory is still there. I definitely want to get back into it. The playing, not so much, but the singing, I definitely want to get to doing things like karaoke's at different places or whatnot, or building up my confidence to display that I can sing a little bit more. Um, like singing my first solo at church that I really want to get to pretty soon.
okay, good
Maybe
deal.
posting on social media like a snippet or something of like a song or two that I've wrote or whatnot, or doing a cover of other songs. So it's just a matter of me really pushing myself and then kind of blocking the time out for it. Like after this, playing my trombone just a little bit. Just those
Hmm.
kind of things.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that now. Definitely gonna ask next week. Did you play your trombone? I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask. But okay, good deal. Good deal.
All right, this is the last one. If you had to change your current profession, what would you change to? What would you change it to?
Oh, I'm not gonna be funny. I was finna, I'm gonna say my joke first, and I'm gonna be serious. I was gonna say I would be a housewife. That would be,
I mean,
that would
that's a profession, Sean. Yeah.
that is a profession, and so that I would be really good at that. Okay, I can lunch and brunch down
Hey,
easily, and this reflex up. That's a glass of water. I can do like 5 a minute, so I'm good for that. But no, I think if I were to change my career, man, I actually wanted to be in law.
hmm,
I wanted to be in law. I wanted to do litigation law, specifically business law. Um, yeah, I wanted to be in the courtroom. It's a business case going on. Maybe we're doing mergers and acquisitions, and I had one little document to read, and maybe somebody wanted to sue us because our retirement was not what we promised or something. I thought I was gonna be that person.
hmm, that's interesting.
Thought I was gonna really be tearing them up in the courtroom, but I can do marketing and advertising for lawyers now. So
Yeah, you
hey.
can. You can. I was just about to say that. Like, oh man. Well, thank you for giving me some of your time today and being able
Thank
to
you for
share some
having
of your
me.
stories and experiences. I definitely appreciate it, especially since, like I said, this is me getting my podcast back rolling after my original one that I have. So definitely
Well,
appreciate it.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you invited me, and definitely keep this up. Keep inviting guests like myself. Keep inviting guests like myself, but definitely continue to invite people who care. Continue to invite people who will give you this time.
Hmm.
And you're doing a great thing, and you're amazing. If nobody's told you, I'll
Thank you.
tell you. So yes, I'm honored to be here.
All right, this is more defined. I'll see y'all next time.